Alkene and alkynes naming are like alkanes method with some tiny difference. As we know, alkene have double bond in their structure and alkynes have triple bond in their structure. So the biggest difference between naming alkene and alkane structure is this double bond. For example, when we want to find our main chain, the double bond must be in our main chain. Or we have to start numbering the main chain from the way that it's nearer to double bond or triple bond. To understand it better, we compare alkane steps and alkene and alkyne steps. As we know, in alkene structure, in step 1, we choose and we find the longest number of carbon chain as our main chain. But in alkene and alkyne, we choose the longest number of carbon that the double bond or the triple bond be contained in that chain. Here, a question may come to you that in a structure, if you find a way that we have the most number of carbon and the double bond or the triple bond doesn't exist on that chain, could we choose it as our main chain? The answer is just one word: no, we couldn't. For example, in this structure, if we start numbering and counting the straight way, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 carbon. But this way doesn't contain our double bond, so it couldn't be our main chain. The main chain is this way, that starts with a double bond and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 carbon. As we see, this is our main chain even if we have lower number of carbon. So the priority is with the double bond, not the maximum number of carbon that doesn't exist, the double bond. Okay, we understand the step 1. In the step 2, we have the same method. As we see, we find the substituent group and name them, and we do it in alkene and alkynes. In the step 3, in alkane, as we know, we start numbering from the way that is nearer to the substituent group. But in the alkene and alkyne, as I said, we have to start numbering from the way that it's nearer to double bond or the triple bond. For example, in this structure, we start numbering from this way because it is nearer to the double bond. But if we don't have any double bond, it's changed to this structure and we start numbering from the way that it's nearer to the substituent group because we don't have any double bond or triple bond. So to understand these different better, we show the steps in examples. We also have to consider one note that we didn't have it in alkane note. As we know, in here we have double bond and triple bond. So when we want to write our main chain, we have to write the number of first carbon that attached to the double bond. So it's time to have some example. But before we start naming some structure, let's find out the name of the structure based on alkene and alkyne. We know that the name of C2H6 is ethane, but based on alkene, it changed to C2H4 and the name becomes ethene. The name of alkene are based on its name. For example, C2H4, the name is ethene. C3H6 is propene. C4H8 is butene. Or the name of hydrocarbon based on alkyne. For example, C2H2 is ethine. C3H4 is propane. C4H6 is butane. That's it. Now we are ready to name some structure. Let's do that.